Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up a light sensor set, which operates by simply, taking a little bit of light and adding it to the environment just so you can see around corners and access other elements of the environment a little bit easier. As you can see, there's a little bit of light, changing what directions, what faces it's on. That gives us that flexibility to go around environments and see a little bit clearly in dark spaces or where you have a tricky spot where you really want light to go. Let's get into it. So the first thing you're going to want is to have a scene ready to go. This scene here is just one that I've simply just found. It doesn't have any tricky lighting spots, so I just created some darkness, and I can modify the values in order to show you how it actually works and also set it up. Due to some complications, it is going to require some manual setup on your part as a user. So first of all, you're going to have a package and you're going to want to drag and drop that into your project, and you're going to want to import it. That's one of the very first things you're going to need to do. One of the other things you might want to do is either have a look at the photos of Inspector, the photos in here, of what you're going to be needing to do, like all the setup information, and that will just make your life a little bit easier if you're unsure of how things are meant to look or what you can touch or what you need to touch in order to get things to work. As you can see, there's clamp lighting that was highlighted to indicate that yes, you can actually change that variable, and that's the only value you need to change. Okay, so let's go back and just point out that here's the README file. It's just loading. And this also has some information in it that might be of use to you if you're working on the project and you want some information. As you can see, it has an important note of, something about the sensor plate, and you might need to add the layers manually, which is what's expected, and that's why we're making this video. And these are layers that are essential that you need to set up. If the layers do not exist, they may require modifying and culling prefabs and stuff to get them to work, and you'll have that will be the assembly of the prefab. So anyway, just to try and jump into this and just get this set up and make this work as quickly as possible and as easily and simply as possible, I'm just going to grab, the light sensor set. I'm going to put it here, and where it is right now is probably okay. I can go into scene view and I can check out what it looks like from another perspective. As you can see, it's a little bit above the ground. I might drag that up a little bit and move it around. It doesn't matter that it looks upside down. I'm pretty sure that's okay as it is. It'll be fine, it'll work. But as you can see, we can see this square on the screen, and we can get rid of that because that's not what you want in your scene. You don't want to see the square. That's not something you want to see. You just simply go to your camera, but we haven't set everything up, so oops. I'm just gonna add some layers. So you're gonna want, a sensor layer and an emitter layer. So it doesn't matter how you write them. It just matters that they're written. The reason you want the emitter layer is so then the light doesn't interact with the sensor and cause that to go cuckoo, and you need the sensor layer in order to cull that from the camera so you don't see it. So what I'm going to go do is set this up and set the layer to sensor. No, just this object. That'll be fine. We're going to then go to the main camera and we're going to cull the sensor and take that out. And now as you can see, the sensor has now disappeared. That's intended. Now we want to go to the faked light emitter, and as you see, it's already set up as emitter, which is actually interesting how it actually managed to just set it up as emitter, since I was using different terminology, I believe, before. Maybe it's the right terminology. It doesn't matter if this is set up or not. Here, I believe you want to be culling the emitters, which is automatically done, which is cool, excellent, great work. And I think that is just about it. I think this is actually ready to go. I'm going to change this clamp lighting to something like maybe 2 because it might, in a brighter scene, not work as intended. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the play button, and that should go a little bit dull or dim. And the way it actually works, I'm going to take this to the other screen, is if there's a little bit of light that is hitting it, it will modify the value based on the light that hits it normally. I'm actually finding it interesting how the light's not interacting with it as intended. I'm gonna guess that part of the reason why it's not working as intended, or seemingly working as intended, is probably because there's already light in the scene. I can double check what the light intensity looks like by changing one of these values. It was light intensity. I'm going to change this to public just so I can see what is actually going on with the light intensity in the scene, what is the light value meant to be, because I can still get the same value from the fake light emitter as well, and it tells you what the value is. So what I can do is then turn in this value. I can change it to maybe like a 1 or a 0.5, and it's for those really tricky spots. You're not going to be able to make the most out of it in most situations, but where you do want lighting, then you can utilize another asset to try and, increase the brightness based on light, hay, reflecting off a surface and doing something. I don't think it works well in this scene just because there is no bottom, seemingly. What I mean by no bottom is you've got no zero light. You have the directional light, which is adding light to the scene, and that is why it's not working as intended exactly, I believe, because it's already collecting light. If I were to then turn off my area light, there might be some other lighting stuff I can do. General rendering lighting, I can then go environment, turn down intensity. I think that can do something. I'm not sure what that one does. Color, I want it to be dark. I want to remove as much lighting as possible. So now it's, really, really dark. Okay, cool. I'm going to put this over here because this is designed mostly in a dark scene, so I have no idea why it's not working as intended. But what happens is you have this asset here, and you might, have a toggle, and you can see how it's influencing that. So if I increase the intensity, as I turn up the intensity, it goes dark and disappears, and as I lower it, it will sort of stick together. They'll clamp together lighting values very closely until it passes a certain point, and then that one will fade out. So it's good for lighting up tricky spots in dark environments because all it really does is just one light hits a surface and tells it to turn on another. And this could be used in buildings, which is what it was intended for, to try and get deal with some tricky lighting situations. But essentially, that's how it works and that's what it does. But that is how you set it up. You'll still, even though you can't see the boxes or anything, you'll still see them in the editor. So you'll see the quad and you'll see the stuff. You can change the clamped value and you can turn that actually up as high as you want. I don't really want it for anything intense. I like it for just the softness of it. And then you can take your area light and change the value of that and turn it up and down. I'm actually surprised that this light is actually still operating like that. So that's a bit of a bug in my eyes. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. But yeah, it's meant to, clamp to the other. I think by default these settings will be okay. It's meant to just be for softness. You don't want to use it for intensity or anything crazy. And it's just really a prototype and a proof of concept that actually works now. So anyway, guys, I hope that video helped. I get it, there's bugs with it. I apologize, but if anyone wants to try it and use it or potentially you know, make something better with it or make it better, then feel free to do whatever you want with it. Thank you very much. Michael out.